My name is Minister Wheeler, Elder-elect Wheeler, and this is my wife, Dana Wheeler, and we are members of Micah 7 Ministries.
I am Minister Sergeant K. Grandy. I have been here for 10 years. I'm one of the founding, or I don't know if it's called founding, but I am one of the pillars of Micah. Well, funny story. Senior pastor, contacted Elder Elect to ask him to be a part of the ministry. And since Elder Elect is one of my best friends and my brother, when he called me to tell me that she wanted him, I was like, really? I'm not letting you go over there without me. So I came because he came and also because she's my sister.
Hey y'all, my name is Minister in Training, Tynese S. Gutsmore. I've been here since the beginning, so I'd say I've been here all 10 years.
Peace and blessings, Micah. Minister Mitchell Slade here. And I've been with Micah for 7 years. I joined Micah in 2018. I came to drop off an order for the prophetic encounter that year, and something inside of me told me to stay for service. And I've been there ever since. Although I had to invite myself into the church because pastor never opened the door, but that's another story for another day.
I'm Andre Dawson. I've been part of Micah 7 Ministries for 9 years now, since 2016. And I came here first because Mr. Simpson, he said his mom was a pastor, and I was like, we should go to church. We should check out your mom's preaching. He's like, all right, no. I'm like, no, we should still go to church and see her. Because I want to see how your mom preaches and stuff. And from there, it just started. And I've been here ever since.
Hey everybody, Minister Jesse Lee Simpson IV here. Proud member of Micah 7 Ministries. I've officially been around, I can't even tell you the exact date, but I know that I joined about a year or so in. However, I am an A1 day one. I may not be a pillar, but I was there when the very first service happened, and I remember the Spirit being in the room with us and just seeing how that's grown. I had to join.
Hi, my name is Matthew Espinay Brown. I've been a member of Micah 7 Ministries from since I want to say around September 2021. And how I arrived at Micah 7 Ministries was Minister Jesse Lee. Oh, man, Jesse, that boy. Anyway, he was pestering me, pressing me to say, oh, you got to come to my church. I promise you, my church is not like any other church. We're more family. And you know, when you hear that coming from where I came from, it's like, okay, Bible thumping, condemning, fire and brimstone type, where it's like you don't want to be part of. But from the day one that I came in here, I saw Minister Sanji, who I call Auntie Sanji, in her yellow and red, yellow dress, red hair, give me that hug, and Minister Tiny's doing her praise, her signing. I'm sorry. I felt safe for once in a spiritual or religious or organized religion setting, and I felt like it was not really a church, but more I really did feel family. All right.
Okay, my name is Tiffany Williams, and I've been with Micah 7 Ministries for about 2 years now. And I first came to the ministry by way of Minister Grandy. You would think so that would have come because my brother is elder elect. He was he is one of the founding members of Micah 7. But it was actually her draw and her loving kindness for me just coming in to visit, and her as well as the teaching and the pastors, Pastor Reverend Dr. Nicole and Pastor Angel, Reverend Dr. Thompson, and just the whole Micah. When I walked into the building, I just felt an embrace and a love and the sweet spirit of the Holy Spirit. So that's how I landed to Micah.
I am Deacon Ian Duhart, and I have been a part of the church since probably like 2018-ish, 17, 18-ish. And I'm from Plainfield, New Jersey, actually like a block away.
How did you come to the first come to the church?
Well, my mother is the senior pastor, and my brother is a minister, and I also knew Andre, and they invited me to come help originally with doing praise and worship. And then I was, coming back, obviously, because family.
Right.
Jasmine Wilkes.
Kyrie Wilkes.
And I first came to Micah 7 I was actually in the halfway house. I met Pastor Nicole before she was a pastor, when she was coming to Edna Mahan Correctional Facility. I met Pastor. Okay, so you're asking about Micah, but yeah, so way back when, while I was in the halfway house, Pastor Nicole would come visit me every other Tuesday. And long story short, that's my affiliation with Micah.
My name is Stefina, but I go by Steph. I've been a part of Micah, I would say, Jesus, 3 years now? 3 years, yeah. I got introduced here through my sister, Jazz. She's my big sis. I met her. Well, of course, she's my sister. So, yeah, I met Pastor Nicole through her. And after that, it was just like we became one big family.
My name is Deborah Phillips Brown, and I've been a part of Micah 7 Ministry for the last 5 years on the outside of the prison walls.
Sister Terrell Shelton, affectionately known as Sister Rel. I have truly been a part of Micah since it started because I've known Pastor Nicole and Minister Grandy since I was 14. So, but as far as becoming an actual member, I became an actual member of Micah 7 Ministries in 2023.
My name is Tiana Nakia Scarlett. I have been a part of Micah as a member since 2022, June. I first found out about Micah before Micah was even Micah because Pastor has been a part of my life since 2008. And I came to Micah because I was originally supposed to come to Micah, but I came out of at the man, tried to do it my own way, and it did not work. But I'm grateful I'm here.
Okay, my name is Kimberly H. Fisher. I've been a part of Micah 7 Ministry since December 2024.
And how did you first come to the church?
Oh my goodness. I first came to the church because I was looking for a church home, and I know Nicole, Pastor Simpson, for a very long time. I knew her since before she was a pastor. And I said, well, let me just go visit Micah. She was like the last church that I would go and visit. And when I walked down the hallway of the Piscataway location for Micah 7 Ministry, it felt like home. I was greeted at the door. I don't remember who greeted me, but it felt like home. And when I came into the sanctuary situation in the Piscataway location, it was just so much peace that was offered that I was like, okay, yep, this is it. This is it. I'm not too sure. But this feels like this could be it. And by the following Sunday, I knew for sure that it was definitely it and that I was going to be a member of Micah 7 Ministries.
Yes.
My name is Michelle Delane. I have been a member for about 1 year of Micah, and I was brought to Micah by Sister Tayana. She was a coworker turned friend that invited me, and ever since I came, I never looked back.
Sure.
Hi, so I'm Christine Staple Ebanks. I've been a member of Micah 7 Ministry since January of this year, and it has just been an amazing journey. I have been without a home church for a while since moving here, and it's interesting that how I actually came to Micah 7 Ministry. Pastor Nicole and I both won an International Impact Book Award, and we were on a Zoom call together. And she said to me, "We need to talk." And then she got talking to me, and she said, I'm a pastor, and my church welcomes everyone, and we really would love to have you join.
Yeah.
And I decided, okay, I will. And so I joined, came to a few sessions.
So I would say Micah 7 has been has made a very big impact on my life, my family, my children. We are all members here. It's really just been a place of safety and hope, the house of hope, because I had just came to Micah from just the passing of my mom, who was also my pastor, and I'm a preacher's kid. So I grew up in church for years and years, but it was like landing in a safe haven and a safe place being here. So it was just the place where I always wanted to be. Micah has changed my life. From the day I first came, I met AP through the prophetic encounter. And after that night, I received a word from God of how my life is to go, what I'm to do. And then after that, I just stayed with Micah. And it's been phenomenal, honestly. I eventually joined the church, and it literally has been such an amazing experience here. I love it here. I really.
Yes, so it's definitely impacted my life because I love that the the incorporation of Jesus, the word, the Bible is an everyday thing. I love that we have morning prayers every single morning. I've never been a part of a church or went to a church where we made sure to meet and fellowship every day. Even on the weekends, we share it's important to do that. So definitely has affected my faith journey by keeping me consistently in the word and thinking about God on a daily basis. I would say the one, I mean, it's multiple, sermons, but I think the one event that really meant a lot to me is my baptism last year, October. Just having that community around me and pastor to baptize me and wash me clear, of my sins and just be a part of that rebirth for me just meant a lot. So my baptism was amazing. Yeah.
It impacted my life because one, I ain't outside no more. I'm focused. God is real. Like I would tell my friends that I still have that's outside, y'all gotta believe in God. Y'all just out here playing. And I done had a couple situations where He real, super real. And not for nothing, Michael was like the anchor for me to get that knowledge and everything else that came with it.
For me, Micah has impacted my life because, as previously stated, I was in the halfway house, and upon my re-entry, um, for the most part, Pastor did give me some leeway for me to, get on my good foot, so on and so forth. But, I've been home from prison now, 9 years. And as I look at the highlights of my journey in my reentry, Micah is a part of it.
Yeah.
From I got chills, praise God. From my first time actually physically coming to the service, to church, and Pastor Thompson was speaking and she spoke over me, to even with me being a published author, that's one of Pastor's babies. For those who don't know Micah, I passed away many, many hats. I mean, listen, wouldn't be surprised if she ran for president. Prophetic encounter. I said, I want you to come to church with me. His first time ever coming in the building. His first time ever, he had met Pastor before, but his first time ever meeting Pastor Thompson, everything. And on the way we driving, I said, Lord, please just give me, if you say I love him, but if you say no, then it's no. I was adamant with that, got here, long story short, Pastor Thompson, she spoke, she said, you on the red hat, she ran my husband's whole life to him. And in the midst of it, she said, and this engagement shall not be a long one. She confirmed that he was my husband. Then she spoke some things over me as well. But that was answered prayer for me. So Micah has been
The anchor to the flow, on top of the water.
there it is, boom.
Boom.
Well, they definitely have impacted my life because they have been truly my chosen family. They picked me from day one. They loved me. They have supported me, encouraged me in ways that I have not always gotten in the past. One particular thing I guess I would say is probably the first time that I spoke to Associate Pastor Thompson when during a service she stopped mid-service and was like, you belong here, you need to be here. And that I had already been coming, but that was like, okay, I truly feel like welcomed in.
Micah 7 has truly been my lifeline and my anchor. It has brought clarity to many unanswered questions and guided me straight to my owner's manual, the Bible, where I've been able to find deeper understanding and truth. Through this journey, I've learned to forgive myself and to let go of the many mistakes that I've made in my younger years. I now hold firmly to my Father's word and rely on Him daily for guidance and direction.
Micah 7 Ministries has impacted my life and faith journey. Just because of where I started, where I was almost 9 years ago to where I am now, has been exponential growth, and it's nobody but God. And that faith walk and being committed and obedient to just being in service and being a part of a community, something that's bigger than myself, bigger than us, and following the instruction of God. And I think the one pivotal moment was definitely the first prophetic encounter that I went to with AP and just her speaking the word over my life and that resonating so deeply and it coming to pass. And I was told before, like, her word never hits the ground, but to be evidence of that and to see that in my walk with God and how it's kind of manifested its way and how He's manifested His will in my life has been nothing short of amazing.
That we go a long, long, long way. That we get to see another 10 years, another maybe 20 years. My vision for Micah is that we continue to grow and impact people that do not feel deserving, and that our leaders get to sit back and see the fruits of their labor, because I believe in Micah.
I pray that we go beyond 10 years. I pray that whatever God has designed for me to do in Micah, that it be done and that it be done essentially. I would love to see the population grow. I would love to see um, more maturity in our saints. We have a lot of young people such as yourself. And so I'd love to see you guys come up to the level where Doc and Pastor are at this point. So to see that growth would be great.
That it will grow because this kind of church community is needed. In today's very superficial world where a lot of churches are big on, I'm not even sure what it is, but Micah carries a heart of Christ, carries a love of Christ, carries a community, and carries a relevance to today's world and today's issue. And so my dream and my hope and my goal is that it will continue to grow, and that I've been kind of spotting out several buildings that I'm looking at for us to be in so that we can reach not just people in Plainfield, but we can reach people across the state and across the country.
Amen.
Ooh, pastors. First of all, kudos to y'all for being as phenomenal as y'all are. Thank you for being the examples that y'all are. My thing to you would be keep being who you are, because who you are is blessing all of us. And your teachings, your wit, your drives pushes us to be bigger and better than who we all are. And I couldn't ask for any better leadership. You know, we've served under a bunch of different people in our times. And, you know, when you find good leaders, you support them. So my prayer is that you guys never take it personal when people act up, because a lot of the times it's just their own personal fear. But know that you guys are changing lives at a...
Well, my hope is that we get this building that we've been trying to get for a long time, you know, hoping that this building will come soon, you know what I mean? So we can expand more with the church and, you know, probably get a better viewing of a congregation. But right now, I like it the way it is. You know, sometimes they think that these big, predominantly big churches out here, you know, thinking sometimes they don't have the type of love that we share at Micah 7 Ministry.
And my hope for Micah over the next 10 years is that we find ourselves cutting the ribbon to our new building, not just a building for church service, but an institution that will impact the communities that we serve, not just over the next 10 years, but for generations to come.
For the next 10 years and even beyond, that I pray not only growth and size, but I pray spiritual growth. I believe that this is a prophetic church. I do believe that this here is only the seed, it's only the beginning, the building blocks of something that's greater. And I do pray that each and every member that's in here right now is receiving all that God has for us right now, because there is a work. The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. But I do believe more is coming. I believe God is inviting us in, and God is going to allow us to do something different within this nation, within this world, that it's not being done right now, or there's a lacking of. God is going to use Micah 7 Ministries and all its members to do something great in this world.
My hopes and prayers for the next 10 years for Micah 7 Ministries is for the growth of the church, for their positive impact on the community and on society at large, and just for Micah to continue in the direction that God has for Micah, not in somebody's warped vision of what they think church ought to be, but to move in the path that God has laid out for Micah in the body of Christ and to be impactful to the body of Christ.
Amen. Ministries.
My hope and prayer for Micah in the next 10 years is for us to just keep being great. I want us to be a global sensation. I want the whole world to know who Micah is. And I pray, even though we're so good stationed here in Plainfield, that I'm praying for a bigger church so more members could come in, and I can just see it for Micah. So for Micah, just continue to grow, continue to be blessed, continue to prosper, and just continue to change lives. That's all I want for Micah and the Micah members. That it continues to grow. This is a place of good ground. When Micah tells you to sow, they're not just looking for a financial contribution. They're looking for you to sow the gifts that God has given you. Everybody in this building has a gift. Mine is being in the kitchen. I love to cook. But I've been able to actually share that gift and other talents that I have to been able to help the church. So when you have time to sow, when you have talent to sow, this is the place to go and to do it. It's a place that's about love and acceptance, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
For the next 10 years, ooh, that's why I'm gonna Beyonce's Act 3. But honestly, to grow not only in just community, but in the people of Micah, to continue to bring all different colors and sources and also just personality into the building, for the building to not only grow just from where we are, but to grow higher, because the goal is to reach where God is right now, for us to be able to hold on and continue to just be prayerful and supportive in our community and who we are individually and together.
I pray that in the next 10 years, Micah continues to talk to its community, that we go from in terms of this city to in terms of this county to in terms of this state, that it becomes a place that people know you're going to meet God every single time you walk through the door. Not, oh, this was an off day. No. And we don't have those at Micah. And so I'm thankful that it is a place that it is, and it's going to continue to grow, that it doesn't lose what makes it so special, and it never will, because we're following God. And when you do that, you are going to continue to grow. So I pray that it touches the community, it touches the state of New Jersey, it touches the world, it touches the country, and that we continue to model what it looks like to walk in the life of Christ.
Well, first of all, I am honored to be serving alongside and under you. I'm glad for your leadership. I am praying continually for you. I love that God has given you, particularly the two of you, the instruction over this house. It's not very often that you see two women in leadership. And so as a woman, as a Black woman, this is very encouraging and very uplifting for me. And so to see two women who are not just regular women, but doctors, women of great education, of great integrity, of great scholar, This makes me very proud to be a part of this ministry, to know that I have not one, but two powerful women to follow and to follow behind and to learn from, to glean from. What I want to say is that keep doing what God tells you to do, keep following his instruction. That this is only, I think, just the beginning. Just we haven't even really got to the very core of what it is that God has. And so if we've done so much in this little bit of time, oh my God, where it is that God's going to take us, because we see iron sharpens iron. And what you guys have been able to do with all of us in watching the seeds grow the way that they have, the garden is so big. The garden is so big and the seeds are blossoming. So continue to water the garden. And I can't wait to see what the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years brings, because it is a pleasure, it is an honor, it is a privilege to serve with you. So God bless.
It's not a special word, but it's always been the word that I've always said to senior pastor, that I appreciate you for coming and getting me at the time that you did. I appreciate you obeying God and listening to him, and, not looking past our, I wouldn't say friendship, but looking past the fact that we knew each other, and you look past that and you saw the spiritual instead of the natural. And that, because you did that, it changed my life. It changed my family's life. It changed my faith. And so I want to say thank you for that. And to Doc, I want to say thank you for joining us. Thank you for always being the resident prophet of the house and always blessing us with a word. And I just can't wait to see what the next 10 years is going to bring for both of you.
I love y'all. Like, y'all definitely changed my life for the better. I'm not going to get emotional, but starting with senior pastor, minus you being my whole aunt, knowing me for 29, about to be 30 years, you have been the best pastor in the world. Now, I'm not being biased because you're my aunt, but because when you speak, I know God is using your voice. I know that God has put you in the right path to make Micah what it is today. Like, we wouldn't have any of this had you not said your yes. So I thank God for your obedience and your faithfulness. And I just hope that God continues to bless you. And as for AP, girl, you are a surrogate auntie. And I just love you. And I thank God for your yes. And thank you for your obedience and for your calling, and just for continuing to just, for both of you, y'all have been in my corner, pushing me in my ministry walk. So I glean from two powerful powerhouses that are women. Like, it makes me so happy to be not just a Black woman, but a woman of God, that I have two head pastors that are just devon.com. So I just thank you guys for y'all covering over me. And I just hope to be as great as y'all one day. And that's really all I gotta say, because I don't want to take up much time. I know there's so much more I could say, and y'all already know what it is pretty much. So I love y'all, and I thank God for you guys.
Pastors. First of all, kudos to y'all for being as phenomenal as y'all are. Thank you for being the examples that y'all are. My thing to you would be keep being who you are, because who you are is blessing all of us. And your teachings, your wit, your drives pushes us to be bigger and better than who we all are. And I couldn't ask for any better leadership. We've served under a bunch of different people in our times. And, when you find good leaders, you support them. So my prayer is that you guys never take it personal when people act up, because a lot of the times it's just their own personal fear. But know that you guys are changing lives at a fundamental core level, and just keep being amazing. We could not do it without you, and we don't want to do it without you. So make sure you keep taking care of yourselves, because that's a lot of pressure. But yeah, keep being phenomenal. We love you. I love you. If you ain't here today, I love you.
A special prayer to both our senior pastor, Reverend Dr. Nicole B. Simpson, and our associate pastor, Reverend Dr. Angel Thompson, that God will continue to meet your needs, but also that he gives you the desires of your heart. Happy 10th anniversary. I love you to life.
Well, obviously, both are pastors. I love you so much. I thank you for choosing me, for loving me. I hope that you know that every word spoken, every piece of advice, every prayer has been appreciated and helpful. And thank you for shaping me into the person that I am currently and who I'm becoming in the years ahead. So thank you.
All right, special words for our pastors. Yes, Pastor Simpson, you have been integral in my growth and development. And Pastor Thompson, you have also been very impactful in shoring me up in ways that I did not think was possible. When you have lost church family and you have lost your shepherd and you feel lost because of that, and then you come to a place where people speak and breathe life into you and they take you by your hand and walk you through your life. I just thank you both for your willingness to yield to whatever God is leading you to do and your willingness to pour into others. It has been very important and it has changed my life immeasurably. I look forward to seeing how God is going to have me grow and develop here at Micah. And I'm looking forward to another additional 10 years with Micah 7 Ministries. And so I look forward to seeing where Micah's going to be for the 20th anniversary of Micah 7 Ministries. Thank you, pastors.
Special words I want to share with my pastors. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm not gonna get emotional, I promise, but it's you've been a huge impact on me. Just how you walk in your faith and how you both walk so strongly and depend on God. I find that inspiring, encouraging, even in my worst and darkest days. Continue to keep pressing in God. Thank you. Thank you for that.
I love you both tremendously. If I could take the moment to just say thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your kindness. Mommy, thank you for not giving up on me, even when you could have. Thank you for bringing positive words to not only this house, but to my life, my personal life. And thank you for helping me remember who I am, whose I am, and how powerful I am. I love you.
We love y'all.
Believe it.
We love y'all.
Love you. Thank you. I'm here. I'm in the building.
That I love you both. Pastor Nicole, like you said, you've known me since I was a little girl. I'm rolling with your little sis. And, I thank you for following God's instructions and creating Micah. I thank you for always having been there for me. Always having been there for my son, Nicholas. His dad, his dad and I joke about you should be able to write him off on your taxes because he spent so much time at your house and you've adopted him as one of your children. And I'm grateful for you. And AP, I thank you for always believing in me, giving me the word when I needed it, whether it was good, bad, or ugly. You gave it to me with no filter. And you made me an author. By doing that favor for me, you made one of my biggest dreams in my life come true. And I thank you both for all the time, the love that you have poured into me and those that I love.
I just want to thank and praise God for their obedience, for Micah 7 Ministries to just be here and existing and thriving. And I just thank and bless God for them and just pray that God will continue to guide them, give them the wisdom that He has been to just take us to the next 10 years as we continue to grow.
I would like to say just thank you for just flowing your love, your knowledge, your encouragement, being not only just a pastor to us at Micah, but also being mothers and who you are. And just showing how unconditional love is truly to be represented, not only just in the words of the Bible, what our God has said, but also just through you and who you are as women. And being independent in that nature, you continue to be flawless and always ever changing, but still loving in who we are individually and together. And thank you. I love you.
I love y'all. I love y'all so much. Y'all have changed my lives tremendously. And I don't know
where I would be without y'all. I don't know where my son would be without y'all. The amazing times where we've needed help or just an ear and prayer, and the lives you've changed. You've changed my life tremendously. And I thank you for your call. I thank you for your obedience and your constant pour into us. It doesn't go unnoticed. You're beautiful. You're amazing. You're immaculate. And I can't thank you guys enough from the bottom of my heart. And I pray that God continues to bless y'all and keep you and your family, and you guys continue to grow in the Lord. Thank you so much for all you do for us.
Yes, so for our beautiful pastor, Reverend Dr. Nicole P. Simpson, Reverend Dr. Angel O.J. Thompson, you women have been an inspiration to me ever since I started coming to Micah and just met you. All I could think about is how can I be more like these godly women. So I just wish you guys more success, obviously, and just keep doing your thing. Both of you are changing lives in a way that you can just tell that God just brought you here to do that. So my only words is keep doing exactly what you're doing, because I'm getting goosebumps saying this, but I can only speak for me, and I just know you've made my world better since meeting you. So just keep it up, and I love you both.
I just want to say thank you for ministering the heart of God. Thank you for answering the call of God. And thank you for the way you love and shepherd God's people.
So the opening question is 10 years is a big milestone. How does it feel to look back and realize it's been a decade of Micah 7 ministries?
It feels surreal, to be honest with you. It seems as if it was just yesterday. I am very grateful. I've been very reflective of the journey of Micah 7, how we got here, where we are today and where we're going. And so I was really thinking about how we got started. And that just is nothing but God. I didn't anticipate that we would be in our 10th year. I was kind of pushed into ministry almost immediately after I was resigned to the fact that God had called me. But I thought I would be able to finish school and then pursue my doctorate. And yeah, that was just a joke right there. But it has been a wonderful journey to date. And I feel like we are just getting our legs underneath us to go further.
Tell us a little bit more about how did you get started?
So I was set up. I was bamboozled. No, I'm like, seriously speaking, I think what transpired is that I had been doing prison ministry for over 10, 15 years up to that point. And I think through my journey of being in school and prison ministry, having been with some of the young ladies for such a long period of time, I, I heard God saying that He was calling me outside of the prison to establish a ministry thereafter. I still thought it was just directly with those that were incarcerated. And so immediately, I tell this story. I'm sorry, Pastor. But my pastor at the time, I had gone to him about a year beforehand and said, I think God is calling me to pastor. And he told me I didn't have the heart of a shepherd. And I was like, wow, okay, well, since I know the voice of God and he called me, then we got to get my heart ready because God called me to pastor. And so a year later, I knew that God had said it. So I went back to him and said, God called me pastor. And at that time, he said, I believe God had called you already. Literally weeks later, he tells me he's shutting the church down. I was like, wait, what? Because that's when I thought I would finish school. I'm now getting prepared. But, he was shutting the church down. And my old church helped me with all of the things we needed to go into the new church. At that time, God had spoken to me and told me to communicate with who is now Elder-elect Wheeler, told him what God was saying. He was not someone that I would hang out with all the time or anything of that nature. We didn't really have that type of relationship. But I called him and we went out. Salad works and had a salad. God had already spoken to him. And then our minister, Grandy, said, I will join you. And so that's how it got started. That was in 2015. I wrote a paper at the end of 2013 that said, if I were to pastor, this is what it would look like. And the rollout was, going to be exactly what Micah has evolved to.
What were some of the biggest challenges you faced in the early days, and how did you overcome them?
I think the biggest challenge still remains today, preaching to more chairs than people. I mean, honestly speaking, I think the biggest challenge is knowing whether or not what you're preaching, how you're living, what it is that you're trying to help the people understand, if it's being heard, if it's being received, how people are applying it to their lives. In the beginning, the struggle was real. You didn't know. And I think sometimes when you're uncertain in how it's being approached, is your teaching style or methodology working? Do people feel comfortable enough with you? All of those are things that run through your head. But then God has a way of giving you signs along the way to let you know, keep going, keep going. It doesn't mean that you know everything. This is like walking a tightrope without a safety net, but we just keep pressing forward and God continues to bless. So, you know, I just take the challenges as they come along and we've been good.
Amen. And for you, AP, so you started off as a prophet, no pastor was Jesus' little sister from 7 years old. So tell us about, your journey. How did you get into ministry through the prophetic? And then also, we're gonna bring that conversation is gonna merge into how did you guys get established to come together?
Whew, okay, so my journey. I was kind of reared in church. My grandmothers were both believers. My mother's mother is the one that recognized my prophetic gift early. Probably before I was 5, I have memories of her training my gift, so to speak. So I recognized very early that there was something very different about me. She definitely did the best that she could to train my gift, but she wasn't a staunch, you got to be in church, she was very balanced in her belief. She was the Pentecostal apostolic side, and then my father's mother was the Baptist, so it was more about the traditions of the church and things of that nature. And then, believe it or not, the AME experience was introduced into my life at Allen AME. Pastor Flake and Reverend Lane, though they were introduced into my life at an early age as well, because my great grandmother, Roosevelt, was an AME. And so my grandmother, although she was Baptist, she would take my grandmother to the AME church. And so then we would go there, and they just had more kid stuff to do to keep you engaged. And so, anybody that knows anything about the AME experience, their triad is economics, education, and community. And so, that is where you went to Girl Scouts and things like that. So that's where my faith was established. And I decided I just wanted to, be when I became a young adult, like in my 20s, is when I, just decided to give my life fully to Christ. Life experiences do that. And from there, I went on a very interesting journey. Quite frankly, even though some things have shifted now, I had at that time a woman of God in my life that was very responsible for the ministerial and prophetic training that I experienced at New Greater Bethel Ministries, Dr. Juanita Bynum, Prophetess Juanita Bynum. I got my legs and my understanding of ministry and the call, so to speak, of God. Under Apostle John Boyd Sr. And that was where the most of my rearing was done. But my release into ministry came under Prophet Andre Cook. and he is a very well known staple in New York church. And he is, for all intents and purposes, my spiritual father. And he was the one that really did a lot of the training and sending of ministry. That's where I started to travel a lot and preach. That is where I started to learn how to, I guess, craft my style of preaching, my style of reaching, and where I gained a lot of momentum in ministry that caused me to be able to travel both nationally and internationally.
Amen. So tell us about it. How did you first meet Pastor Nicole, and how did you, I guess, how did what was the transition getting into ministry with each other?
So she and her spiritual daughter Raven. I used to do prayer calls. It was just simply called the call to prayer, and it was like it went on for years. Where I literally every night would be. At that time, it was on the phone. That's before we had Zoom and all the things that we have now. And her spiritual daughter Raven was like one of the ones that would be on there every night. Like she was like the first one on the line when you would go in and be like calls waiting, you would see her name at the top, like her number would be at the top. And so I believe, Pastor was just kind of like, who is this lady? Is that how it went? Is that how it went? Okay.
I was like, who is this? She's following this person, and I keep the tight rein on my children, and I needed to make sure she was preaching the truth of the gospel. And that's how I was introduced to her.
Yeah, so I think she kind of, eavesdropped on the call to just make sure, I wasn't out here, teaching something crazy, that she had to snatch her up. And that is how we essentially got introduced. Now, going back into my history, now that, my little memory bank is doing whatever, as you know, I published books. And there was a woman, rest her soul, named Denise Clark. And pastor at that time was on the Power of Gospel at WRSU Rutgers Radio. And she she invited her, allowed her to come up and talk about her book. And that is the first time that I can recall meeting her, but did not realize that was who she was.
Wow.
So it was her and BJ Jessimon. And they were there doing the Power Gospel thing at that time, and that is the first time that I had a physical interaction with her, but we didn't know each other.
Wow.
She didn't know that was me.
I'm saying it like that. No, I remember.
And I didn't know that was her.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
You are such the historian.
Yes.
I'll tell you, she keep notes for days. But no, the accuracy of the engagement, I really needed to know who was really been following. And then I sowed the seed that night because it was the truth. And I thought that was very important. So.
And then my life fell apart.
Is that how you got that?
No, I mean, okay, I do believe in, full disclosure. So, I just started having a very hard time just in life in general. We don't even have enough time to go into all of what it was. And at that point, Pastor was dealing with a personal issue, and she reached out to me via Facebook, the power of social media. And she reached out to me, and she asked me to be in prayer with her about something, Jesus' little sister. And I had given her the word of the Lord, and she sowed another seed. And then for whatever reason, God trusted her with me. And she said, I don't know why. I wish I had my phone, but because I still have the inbox.
Wow.
It was in July of 2017. And she said, I don't know why I'm saying this to you, but, I just need to know, are you good? Like, what's going on in your life? And, anybody that knows me, especially back at that time, I was a brick wall, okay? And so, I just, for whatever reason, I felt released to just spill my guts in the inbox and tell her, my life is falling apart. Like, and even though, I have family, and I have, what I have, I'm not in a good place. And she asked me, she was like, do you need me to come and get you from where you are right now? And at that time I was in New York, and I was like, yes. And she was like, well, can I get you tomorrow, or do you need me to come and get you now? And I said, I need you to come in. And she drove from where she was to Queens, New York, picked me up, put everything that I owned and could fit in the back of her Lexus, and drove to New Jersey. And I've been connected with her ever since 1438.
It's beautiful.
And from that moment moving forward, we both knew that it was God that put us together for whatever his reasons were. And even when, because you're getting to know each other, we did not know each other. Even in our not knowing each other, we have always been rooted and grounded in this is a God connection, and our humanity is not going to mess it up. I don't know you people, you're nice and all, but I still got this barrier up. And so there would be a touch and go because we lived together for some time, and so you get to see me and I get to see you overall. And I can see what her movement was because she wasn't originally a member of Micah. She was at other church, at another church or what have you. But I saw her life and her journey, and I said to her, I said, first, why don't you just come to the church for a while? That was the beginning. You don't have to join, just come to the church for a while. And then throughout, it was really throughout those years, she saw one of my biggest missteps in ministry in the beginning stages. And I am not quick to lay hands on anyone. And I had a preparation of an ordination service and I shut it down. And she was looking at me like, I've never seen this before. But, when you spend that much time together, a prophet and one that does apostolic work, if we're being honest, you get to feed off of each other. And so God began to reveal more and more her purpose for joining us together. I knew that this was a fivefold ministry. And so because of that, I had seen Elder Elect. I knew that he was an integral part. I am an evangelist by heart. She was the prophet that could speak into my ear spiritually, and it resonated in my spirit. Advance and move forward. God just told me I've called her to shepherd good vision. And I was like, wait, what? What? But I am never going to say no to God. So I'm like, okay. And so that's how that journey began. I was surprised. She was equally surprised. But that's how, I said, I heard God say this, and I shared it with her. We'll add to it.
Well, as she stated, when I came initially, I was a member of another church, and life was transitioning, and so I'll be quite frank, ministry was not the priority for me when I joined Micah. Traveling and preaching is a very different experience than pastoring, and so for me, first just getting acclimated and getting adjusted to the fact that all right, I'm here, this is my church, and just trying to find my space. Initially it came with some complexities, but one thing I will say for senior pastor is that she was very open with the opportunity to minister, and she was very open, very trusting of me, quite frankly. In most cases pastors are not very eager to release people over their people. They're not turning their pulpit over on a Sunday morning. At that time, she was doing prison ministry. And so, there were just, a lot of things. She was finishing up the last part of her in class for her doctoral studies. So she was back and forth to Boston a lot. And so she trusted me with the responsibility of preaching every second Sunday. And so that's how that started. And then eventually it turned into, just more responsibility and things of that nature. And I'll be quite frank, when she, said that, we're ordaining you an elder, but we're also installing you as associate pastor, I was like, installing who? where, and I did not, I was agreeable to it because I trust the God in her. One thing I've learned is that, when you have a pastor, you have to trust that your pastor will hear things that you do not hear for yourself. And so, although I had never seen myself in a role, because pastoral care is nurture, and that was not something that I was comfortable with. It wasn't something that I enjoyed. Um, and I just, said, well, I'm letting you know, so I'm gonna let this on you.
I'm gonna jump in there because I do want to say, to the degree of knowing what the compassion is from a pastoral perspective, it was something always in that needed to be pulled out of her. And that is because her protective nature of where she had come from, never gave space for that to grow. And so, to see her in the beginning and see her now, this is the essence of who she is. So, that's where I thank God, her trust in meeting her pastor was there. Because, sometimes when you're in leadership, you're in ministry, or you can see yourself as a co-laborer in the vineyard, you may not necessarily, submit to the authority that's there. And I'm not one that runs around talking about I'm authoritative or what have you. So that probably made it a little easier, but it was always something that was within that just needed to be curated. And we get the benefit of it there.
How would you describe the heart of Micah 7 Ministries in one sentence?
I would use our vision statement. We're called to serve and committed to the call.
Place where broken people come to be healed. For me,
I
that's
love,
been my experience.
I love that. Listen, I'm shouting up in here. Okay, what are your prayers individually for Micah 7 Ministries for the next 10 years?
Mm. That's a loaded question.
That is so loaded. So listen, my prayer for the people in Micah is that they continue to trust and believe that God is who He say that He is, and in them believing that they will move forward boldly, that everything that they put on their vision board will manifest by the end of 2035.
My prayer is that people will just believe God, believe Him for the impossible. I probably should have said for my one liner, Micah is a place where dreams really do come true. And so, my prayer is that people really trust God and believe for the transformative power of God to be made manifest in their life. I've seen what He has done for me in 7 years since I've been here. I came here broken, homeless, jobless, all the things. But I'm a married woman. My family is restored. There are just so many things that if you truly believe God, and I'm only in year 7 going into year 8, January will be year 8. So for me, my 10 years will be in 2 years. And so I just believe that, and my prayer is that people just believe that God wants to and that God is able to.
But any final words you want to share with the church members?
That took my answer. This is a house of hope. It really is a house of hope. And so if you would come in regardless, just give God a try and give God a try at Micah. You'll find a family that is standing with you as you are believing God for whatever that may be in your individual lives.
My prayer for Micah is that you would be faithful, that you would be committed, that you would be steadfast, that you would be present, that you would be givers, that you would be lovers of the truth, that you would be people who are a proud people, that you would understand the essence of your Blackness in God, in Christ, that you would understand the essence of, uh, who God is, and stand in the promises of God.